In a little channel introduction here, we've decided we have a passion for old movies,
And by old, let me clarify. So, like 1977 and newer, right?
basically post Star Wars.
Because in our world, movies kind of began when Star Wars began.
Absolutely.
So, not a lot of old black and white movies. If you're hoping to find some Cary Grant reviews,
That's not going to happen.
you're out of luck.
So what we're going to try to do is stick to movies that are older than 20 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, 20 years or older. So at this recording, it's 2023. Anything that came out 2003 and prior is fair game.
Okay.
And we have a few reasons for this. I mean, we're passionate about movies, and we both kind of feel that there's definitely a lot of desire for nostalgia out there. People want to revisit this stuff. And I think there's a lot of movies that we love from the 90s, for example, that a lot of people probably missed out on.
Yeah.
So we want to tell you about that. And the other angle is we both hate cancel culture with a passion.
Absolutely.
And cancel culture is trying to come after these movies. They're trying to come after some of our favorite childhood movies, and they're trying to cancel them, and they're trying to tell you that they're offensive. So we are here to defend these movies. Somebody needs to defend these movies.
Somebody needs to do this, because I can't tell you how many YouTube videos I've come across where someone is criticizing a movie from the 80s or 90s because it doesn't meet with modern day sensitivities and it doesn't hold up very well in 2023.
It's problematic.
Because it's problematic. Dude, get a life.
You will never hear the word problematic.
Yeah.
You can barely say it.
I mean, the more offensive, the better, quite honestly.
Absolutely. And, we really hate the social justice warriors. We hate that whole movement.
Yeah.
And so if you're kind of on that side, this probably isn't going to be the channel for you. I'll just say that right now. We're going to talk about that a lot.
The whole woke mob who pretends to be offended by everything. Here's the thing. These people need to be told what to be offended by. They're not actually offended by it. No one in the last 40 years was offended by Raiders of the Lost Ark up until 10 minutes ago because they were told that,
100%.
oh, look, there's a bunch of white actors playing non-white characters. There's a bunch of natives, indigenous natives portrayed as, spear-throwing Neanderthals. Dude, it's a movie. It's supposed to be entertainment, and that's what it is. And again, no one had a problem with this until 5 minutes ago when they were told they had to be offended by it. And that's what I hate more than anything. Look, if you're genuinely offended by something, okay, fine. I hate this idea that people have to be told what to be offended by.
So we're going to try to keep these reviews somewhat short. We're not here to talk about one movie for an hour, but sometimes it might take us 10 minutes and sometimes it might take us 20 minutes. Pulling things apart and really getting into why is this good? Why is this bad?
Yeah.
The other thing too is that there's a lot of movies, especially from the 90s and the 80s and 90s, I feel like there's a lot of movies that people seem to have this emotional attachment to, nostalgic attachment to, those movies are really, really terrible.
They're objectively not that good.
And we really are looking forward to just telling you why we think they're horrible and shattering your dreams. And
some big movies too.
Yeah. And then we're going to tell you, we're not going to do the whole thumbs up and thumbs down thing at the end. Up and down. I think that's kind of corny because what you're essentially doing is you're saying that The Godfather might be just as good as Independence Day.
They're both a thumbs up.
Because if they're both a thumbs up,
yeah.
Well then, what's better than, you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't like the 4 stars version either. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go scale 1 to 10.
I like it.
10 is a perfect movie. And I think, my own opinion, I think there's probably 20 to 30 perfect 10 movies in the entire existence of cinema. There aren't that many 10s out there.
A true 10 out of 10 should be very rare, right?
Yeah.
You're right. You can't put, Forrest Gump on the same level as an Independence Day, or
yeah.
and Independence Day is a fun movie. I get it. I would give it thumbs up.
Right.
Right. If that was my only thumb up or thumb down, I would give it thumbs up. It's got some
it's just-
shortcomings.
it's a pure guilty pleasure
It's a
movie.
guilty pleasure movie.
Yeah.
It's not going to win any awards. It's not.
Angels in the Outfield is not as good as Field of Dreams. Full disclosure, I've never seen Angels in the Outfield.
And that's another thing too. We're going to be reviewing movies that we've never seen before.
Absolutely.
And believe it or not, there's a fair amount of semi-popular movies that neither Phil or I have seen. Angels in the Outfield, The Mighty Ducks.
Never seen
I've never
it.
seen The Mighty Ducks.
I've never seen The Lion King. I've never seen RoboCop. And then there's a lot of movies that neither of us grew up with. I didn't watch The Goonies until I was an adult. I never saw Ghostbusters until about 3 years ago. So I think we have a different perspective on some of those. Because, I grew up with E.T., okay? I have all the same nostalgia, emotional attachment with E.T. as a lot of people our age do. But I don't with Ghostbusters. So how do I feel about that?
Take those nostalgic glasses off and try to watch Ghostbusters.
The most well-loved movies, your Back to the Future trilogy, your Indiana Jones trilogy, your Star Wars trilogy, are they all as good as everyone remembers? I mean, we'll talk about those.
And those are hard because we did grow up with those, and to try to watch Star Wars without any amount of nostalgia.
How do you do that?
I don't know if it's possible, quite honestly.
I don't either.
But we'll try to be honest and give some honest reviews.
And I think speaking of honesty too, the other thing that we've committed to do is before we review a movie, we're both going to watch that movie right before we talk about it.
Yeah.
We have a lot of insight, I feel like, and we just kind of feel like for a long time we've been feeling like this is what we were meant to do.
Yeah, it feels that way.
And a lot of the movie reviewers are just talking about, the next Marvel movie and stuff.
Yeah.
They're always talking about whatever's new and fresh. That's not what we're here to talk about. Again, if it's got to be 20 years old or older, or we're not going to talk about it.
Yeah. Another thing too, if people have recommendations, if there's a movie you want to see us review, just let us know in the comments and we'll watch it. Whether we've seen it before or not, we'll watch it and we'll give it an honest review.
And there are some movies that fell under everyone's radar and have been for 25 or 30 years.
Yeah.
And I'm just now learning about some of those movies and starting to watch some of those for the first time. And I think, wow, why did this movie disappear? What is it about this movie? It came and it went. A few people watched it, but you know what? It was actually a good movie.
Yeah.
And then movies far worse than that have hung around through the years.
Yeah.
People still talk about movies like Billy Madison.
There are some movies, and I can think of a couple that were big hits back in the day, but they've been kind of buried. So we'll talk about that. Why have these movies been buried? Why haven't they been given a proper Blu-ray release? There's
a lot of social justice reasons for that.
There is, and we'll talk about that too. There's kind of a big one that I'm thinking of, and
too,
I think
yeah.
you know what I'm talking about.
Of course I know what you're talking about.
What's going to be our first movie?
All right, well, I guess we're going to review Jurassic Park first.
I guess that's going to be it. Let's do it.
All right, we're both going to watch it.
We're going to have to.
And that's going to be our first review. If you're watching this, Jurassic Park, our review is already up.
I don't think I own it, so I'll have to...
Oh, it's on. I'm sure it's easy to find.
That's about it.
So that's our channel.
Welcome to our channel. It's going to be a fun ride. We're going to watch a lot of good movies and some bad movies.
Yeah. And if you enjoy this kind of thing, like and subscribe, because if we don't get anybody watching these videos, then
Yeah.
we're probably not going to continue.